Lance, when you look at it, the game got away from the Browns' first meeting without question, 28-3. Probably not quite as bad as that score would indicate.
Well, the Browns proved that you got to play all three phases, right? So they played very poorly on offense. Credit to DTR. He didn't know he's playing in the game. That's a tough matchup coming to a game, and then Ravens is your first test. So they didn't play complimentary football. The Ravens did have two good drives where they trapped and whammed and kicked the Browns out, kind of used their aggression against them. Monken did a really good job of finding some matchups with the linebackers and strong safety types. But really it came down to they only had two drives. They still had six 3-and-outs against the Ravens, so they played really good defense. The one drive they scored on was 10 yards. The other drive they scored on was 38 yards. So it was kind of misleading. They did have some success. But early on, those first couple games, the Browns were playing at a legendary pace, best defense ever kind of pace. So they averaged out. It kind of it all caught up with them a little bit. And Monken did have a good plan. Browns are going to be better this week. They're going to have a really good plan. Schwartz is really good at it, and I think having that first film is really going to help them coming into the game this weekend.
All right, let's take a look at some keys and some things to pay attention to in this rematch. Take us through the first clip here, what you see and what you like with it.
So this is the big play. This is I thought last year his best throw was to Njoku, which we went over last year. This is his best throw as a Cleveland Brown. Why? Because he kind of recognizes. So there's a lot to this play. First of all, you're going to see, as the play rewinds a couple times, you're going to see Budda Baker, the safety. He's going to show like he's blitzing. Watson's going to look over to his left and kind of mess with those receivers, switch him. But he knows because the other free safety, Jalen Thompson, is over on the hash. And with that safety being over on the hash, he knows that Budda Baker, who's at the line of scrimmage, has to get to that deep pass. And by doing that, him and Cooper, I heard Stefanski say we kind of drew it up. Well, Cooper's going to do a great job because Cooper is going to attack that corner. Antonio Hamilton, he's going to attack outside and kind of get him widened. And Watson knows that Budda Baker being so close to the line of scrimmage and the other safety being on the other hash, they try to hide it. But he knows that Budda Baker's going to be too flat, and then he just makes a great throw. This answered a lot of questions about his ability to throw deep. He got hit a bunch of times. This could be the game that Watson kind of gets it going and kind of the Watson everybody's thinking they're going to get. This is a really good throw, and this is what you see a ton of in 2020, and hopefully what Browns fans will see moving forward.
So attacking vertical, kind of a messaging point there. Are you concerned at all that you have possibly your third and fourth tackles? You certainly won't have your first and second. You might have, DeJuan Jones. You might not. So you might even be on your fourth and fifth tackles as I talk through it.
Well, yeah, you got to make sure you help. Stefanski, he does a really good job of helping. If you look like Zach Taylor down in Cincinnati, he likes to get 5 out all the time. So Stefanski will do a really good job of chipping and helping those tackles. DeJuan Jones, if he's healthy, has proven that he doesn't need a lot of help. I'm a big fan of Hudson. I think Hudson's had to learn under fire over the last couple of years, so he's only going to get better. He is a much better player right now. But I think what you get is that if they can protect a little bit, I think they have some matchups that they can win in the secondary. I know Humphrey's a good corner, but he's the guy that I think Cooper can attack. They have to pass protect. Again, this defense is really good in the front seven, and the reason I think vertical is so important is because it's hard to go 10, 12, 13 plays against a really good defense. And that's why I always say, when the Browns are, Browns to punt the ball. Both defenses are so good. It's going to be hard for both teams to really extend drives. They can occasionally. The Ravens did it twice against the Browns, but they only did it twice last time. And everybody thinks the Browns defense played bad. 194, 173. Besides that, the Browns shut them down. So Browns need big plays. They won't get no one will have in the NFL will have long drives against the Ravens. They need to get some chunk plays, and that comes in the vertical pass game.
So the other thing that they have to do a better job of is dealing with Lamar Jackson. He got on a little bit of a roll. And take us through this clip, what you see here.
So this is Todd Monk's special here. So this is zone read like everybody runs in the NFL, and everybody has a version of this. But you can see Nelson Aguilar come over in motion. He's going to block. You're going to see Patrick Ricard, who's 6'3", 300 pounds. He's the fullback. You're going to see them both arc release. The Ravens are going to run zone to their left, and he's going to read Taylor, number 52, that defensive end. What Taylor does for the Seahawks is you're going to see him, he goes way down inside. So that's who Jackson's reading. That's who all quarterbacks are reading. They're reading that backside end zone read. Now with Ravens, they get a couple lead blockers out in front. So if Taylor was to go upfield or stay there, he will give the ball to Justice Hill here or one of their really good backs, Gus Edwards, etc. But with Taylor going down inside, he keeps it. Now he's got two players. He's got two guys out in front of him lead blocking. The Browns have to really say, you know what? I know they run the ball very well, but that end's got to stay upfield and go attack Jackson and make him give the ball. You can live or die. You know, if Gus Edwards and these tailback beat you, great. Can't lose the game to a best player. That's a coach's rule, right? You can't lose the best player. The best player on the Ravens offense is Lamar Jackson. Even though Monken's made him good in the pocket, has made him good outside the pocket, you got to get the ball out of his hands. So in this read run game, they got to attack Jackson, make him hand the ball off.
And again, Jackson again had a pretty good first game. But as we look at this next clip, take us through what you like here. This is from the Browns game in Week 4 here.
So here's what you got. So here's the next progression of this. So here's what. So down at the top of the screen, you're going to see Alex Wright. Alex Wright is going to close. So what he's going to do. What I mean by that is he's going to come down. You're going to see the right guard and right tackle pull, and he's going to follow him. Well, that's who Jackson's read is. So this is called bash. So if the end was to go upfield, Jackson will keep the ball and he'll run the counter with that guard and tackle. Because Wright closes, it comes down to his right. He gives the ball up. Now this is what the Browns want. Now this is where the Browns got to make plays here. Now the ball's in Justice Hill hand. This is JOK. He easily beats Nelson Aguilar, who can't block him. He's got to make this tackle in space. So the Browns defensive line has got to make Jackson give the ball up on the read run game, and then the Browns, which they've done a pretty good job this year, have to do a good job of tackling in space. This is what you want. Wright makes him give up the ball here. He's reading Wright. Wright closes. He gives. Again, the Browns got to tackle in space, and this is a no gain, which should have been a no gain on this particular bash scheme that the Ravens ran.
Yeah, and when you look at that, it's almost like he didn't take the angle to the ball carrier that he needed to on that particular play. And I'm speaking about JOK has got a few more yards than he should have. All right, when we look at this fourth and final one, take us through this clip and the importance of it here.
Well, you're going to see. So what happened with the Browns? You know, they gave up a big run here, but what happened was the Browns live and die, and they will continue that with penetration. And what the Browns needed to do a little better job of is, even though they're going to penetrate, trying to get their hands on the offensive lineman a little bit. So you're going to see Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith, they just get upfield here, and they don't read the tackle at all. And what ends up happening, it becomes an easy kick out for that guard coming. So they're going to run the counter here. This is the bash read. He's going to give it, and you're going to see Gordon's able to almost get a touchdown because the Browns are so much upfield. So the Browns have to really work on attacking, though. Even though they're going to attack a gap, they've got to get their hands on the offensive lineman in front of them and not worry so much about getting upfield. Now, that's their MO, and that's what they do, and I like the attack. But by getting your hands on the line of scrimmage, on those offensive linemen, you're going to be at the line of scrimmage a little bit more. You're going to be harder to get kicked out or trapped or whammed. And most importantly, it's going to protect that second level so those linemen can't climb and block those guys. And here's what you had. You had guys who didn't get their hands on, and those offensive linemen get right to the second level. And if those offensive linemen get right to the second level, the Browns are in trouble. So they got to do a little better job, and they will. They'll do a much better job of getting their hands on this week and let those second level guys run.